To those of you not from here, Welland may seem like a town that is divided, since it is by a canal that connects Lake Erie to Lake Ontario. I grew up on the east side where we mainly spoke French and cheered for the Habs. Some of my friends on the west side spoke English and cheered for the Leafs. But whether you grew up on the east side or the west side, when you got to the rink and put on your jersey, you were a Tiger. As kids, we used to live and breathe hockey. Me from the east side, Dan Girardi and another kid, Andre DeVoe from the west side. We would wake our parents early so we could scrimmage with other kids on our team an hour before our 6 a.m. practices. I remember Dan Girardi had the hardest shot, and everyone wanted to shoot like Dan.
Zuccarello back to Girardi, hammers, let's score! Dan Girardi on the power play.
Oh, that was a bomb.
Buffalo selects from the Guelph Storm, left wing Daniel Addy.
I remember working out with Matt Johnson after being drafted and realizing how much hard work it takes to be a professional hockey player, and that got me fired up. There was a bunch of us from town that started to make a buzz, and a few of us got drafted into the OHL. It was a big deal when Matt Ellis signed with St. Mike's.
Fred Ellis shot, stop, Baudry, rebound! Baudry with a pad save again, they score! Matt Ellis!
Nathan Horton got drafted by the Generals, and our buddy Andre DeVoe started playing with the Bulls. Girardi started with the Colts before he joined me with the Guelph Storm. Around the same time, my neighbor, Amanda Benoit Wark, started playing for the women's national team.
Paul Bissonnette with the mitts off at center ice, it's the main card.
Biz, although a little younger than us, was on a similar path, and he made his way up to North Bay to play with the Sens. Another local kid, Jamie Tardif, played for the Petes, and Cal Clutterbuck played for St. Mike's, then the Generals. It's not every day that a bunch of kids from a small southern Ontario town get the chance to lace up their skates and play in the OHL. But here we were, 8 guys, all about to live our dream, ready to head to the NHL. Years on, we have a lifetime of memories to reflect on. And now when I come home, I watch my nephews and their buddies play on the same rink we all played on as kids. The boys are back home tonight. Welcome to a special Rogers hometown hockey from our hometown, Welland, Ontario.
We begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the land protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. From the banks of the Welland Canal to the shores of Lake Michigan, our game tonight is at the United Center in Chicago as the Blackhawks host the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's game 2 of back-to-backs for both teams. The biggest news heading into this matchup, Mitch Marner did not travel with the team. He will not play tonight after sustaining an ankle injury last night. Nonetheless, it should be a spirited one as we head back to the scene of that now famous selly-off between Patrick Kane and Austin Matthews in October of last year. In net Ron is Hutchinson versus Leonard. Our game crew this evening, Jim Houston, Craig Simpson, and Kyle Bukauskas.
Tara, the Rose City's been just unbelievable for 3 days now. The Parade of Champions is underway here, minor hockey, led by 2 beautiful stories. I have to tell you, Welland is heart, all heart. Julia Roberts, we lost. Julia Turner, I should say, we lost to a brain tumor in 2011. Her father, Paul, is helping us with her banner, leading the parade tonight. And Dalton Jakes was a beloved hockey player who succumbed to sarcoma in 2015. And Debbie, his mom, has got his banner here in the Parade of Nations. His team was so good. For 2 years, they won OMHAs. They had his sweater number behind the bench every step of the way. The captain of the team, Daniel Legault, wore his number in a key game in the finals. You can see Thorold Blackhawks, Port Colborne Sailors. You can see Pelham. It's just a celebration. But the best of all, Tara, whatever it is in the Welland Canal, in a calendar year, it produced a Fab Five who made it to professional hockey, and they're here with us. Biz Nasty flew in on the red eye last night. Paul Bissonnette's there. Matt Ellis is an 81. Danny Paille, first Stanley Cup champion. Dan Girardi, just retired, and Andre DeVoe, who was part of the Adam Triple A's, the 3 of the boys over there. Tara, you can start.
This is absolute madness, first of all. Welland has been loud and proud and in full effect since we got here. you're the elder statesman of the group, we'll start with you. You kind of paved the way. So I know everybody has a lot of people they want to thank here. And are some of them in the crowd here for you?
Well, it's pretty exciting for sure. Being, I guess, the elder statesman, I'll take it as a compliment, kind of paving the way for this generation of players. The thing that jumps out is just, how proud I am to come back and see this great support, and obviously to be sitting up here sharing this on stage with these young bucks that made the city proud as well, being surrounded by family and friends. Speaks volumes to the community. The rain's fallen a little bit. We're here in November. This is a town built on grit and tenacity, hard work, and it's a perfect night to be home and be celebrating a wonderful hockey community like Welland.
Well, Matt, your father Jim is one of the pillars of the game here. Mark LaRose is another name that has been thrown around everywhere we go. We hear about what he did as a coach. So, Danny Paille, you did an essay for us. Beautiful job on that. Maybe tell us about the Adam AAA team and your connection to the two boys to your left.
I mean, we were a very skilled group. We had Dan on our team here and Andre. We almost had Biss coming up there. He was getting really close to it.
I played a couple games.
You did. You
barely
didn't
play.
play.
6 guys.
He didn't play.
I don't think he made the cut, but he did make the cut.
He was a great cheerleader. But no, we were a very fun group. We always got together to kind of get at each other's homes. We'd always hitch each other rides from our parents whenever ours couldn't help. So, it was such a great time, and obviously I got two best friends here to show for it, and 25 years later we're still here having a good time.
The warehouse. There's a warehouse that you guys all grew up taking shots in. Where is it? Because people here in Welland would know where it is, and what happened there.
We talked about this. It's, if I remember correctly, it was on Hager Street, right by on the east side that we were talking about. So, yeah, we would take we would have our coach Mark LaRose, as Ron here just mentioned, and he would take the initiative for us to skate or use our rollerblades and go over there and just fire pucks at the walls. Sometimes we had some broken glass get in there, but we just worked on our game, full equipment, and it was a lot of fun.
Biz, you were part of that posse.
Yes, I was, and he used to pay money out of his own pocket when we couldn't get ice locally as well. Like, he would pay for ice time, whether it was in Pelham. Sometimes we would travel to maybe even Grimsby to do it. So good thing Dan made so much money. We're actually going to pay some of it back. He's going to pay it back on our behalf. Okay.
That's really
well,
good.
I mean, you made over 50 sheets, Dan. Stop being greedy.
That's a lot of hard work, buddy.
But one of the things, though, it was nice to come back and see a lot of our old coaches, because, sometimes your parents aren't around. They're there to set the example and set the tone. You mentioned the grit and work ethic, and that's something that didn't go unnoticed, and they put us through the grind. But, it made us the men we are today, and, we had to battle through those adversities as kids and wherever it may be, and I think we're all better off for it. And there's a few other names we didn't mention. Jamie Tardif ended up getting a few games, and he was part of my age group. And he was an incredible player growing up. And a guy like Nathan Horton, who his career was ended short because of the back issues and stuff. And that when he was 13, I mean,
definitely props to Horty. He was the talent out of all of us. He's a great player.
He was about that size when he was 13, playing for the Thorold Junior Bees, and he was lighting the lamp then. And there's no surprise he was drafted first overall by the Oshawa Generals.
So the way the night's working, we're going over to Yolande and Cam's home. So we're going to get to Paul's mom and dad's place. Dan, we've got a special section to interview you to honor your retirement from that brilliant career. So one more for Andre DeVoe, and that would just be, again, the work ethic. I don't know if it's Matt Johnson. Danny mentioned Matt made everybody a little bit tougher. And a guy named Christoph Oliva, Steve Latinovich, a lawyer here in town, discovered him in Switzerland when he was coaching overseas, brought Oliva to play Junior B in Welland, and he went on to win a Stanley Cup as the first Polish player. But that work ethic, maybe tell us, Andre.
We grew up watching Christoph. We used to go to Junior B games right here in Welland. That was the thing to do. And then lucky enough for us, we ended up playing there when we were really young. But I think it goes to... We all have that work ethic. All the kids out there, I'd say hard work will get you to the next level, and that's instilled in us from where we grew up in this town, and all our coaches and our parents are all hardworking people, and I think that's why all of us had success along the way.
Well, we couldn't be happier for you guys to be joining us, and obviously that continues for you, your work ethic as a first responder. So, gentlemen, thank you so much. Big game we're teeing up tonight as Toronto visited the United Center in Chicago. And we're wondering, who are you cheering for? Leafs or Hawks? Hit us up using the hashtag #HometownHockey.
Thanks for letting me talk.
When we come back, Kyle Bukauskas and Travis Dermott trying to figure out what to do with that Patrick Kane, Austin Matthews dance that's ahead on Rogers Hometown Hockey from Welland.
Commentators' clothing provided by Jack Victor.
Buffalo's Patrick Kane has 17 points in 16 games this season. He's coming up in just a little bit. But right now, we've got Travis Dermott standing by with Kyle Bukauskas.
Travis, John last night said Mitch Marner in many ways is the heartbeat of your locker room. In what ways will he be missed here most besides what he can do when he has the puck on his stick?
I think just the livelihood he brings to the rink every day. I think Mitch is a guy that everyone can look up to in that regard, where his love for the game really shows every day, and he really gets the other boys going with that love. So I think we're going to be missing that a little bit for however long we're missing him, but hopefully we can make up for it.
I know you didn't want to waste any time getting back into things now that you're healthy again. What kind of mental spark and boost did that goal last night give you personally?
Yeah, it's nice to be able to contribute like that. So hopefully going forward I can get a little more going. But I think boys are playing well. We got some good momentum going. We're figuring out our game slowly here, and I think we just need to keep going with that.
Travis, appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Amanda Benoit-Wark, former national team player for Team Canada, and I'm also the head coach of Ridley College.
Ready to go?
Yeah, let me break it down. Here we go. So I started playing hockey in Welland with the boys, probably like most girls my age. And I think that first time I stepped on the ice as a 6-year-old, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I got asked to play on a team in Toronto, on the Toronto Arrows, which is probably one of the most prominent female hockey associations in all of the world. So I was lucky enough to play there for a number of years. I started with Team Canada at about 16 years old. I was really lucky. I got to win 2 world championships. I remember the celebration. I remember how excited everybody was, and not just the girls on the team. It was Canada in general, and I think those are the memories that I remember about that, and you never lose those. I got to play with some great teammates. Jana Hefford, Geraldine Heaney, Angela James were all teammates of mine. We still talk today, and it's amazing how some of those connections never go away. I think one of my biggest accomplishments would be actually asked to come back and coach at the national level. Being asked to come back and help other kids develop and learn from your experiences, I think is even more of an honor for myself. Teaching and coaching go hand in hand. I think whether you're in the classroom, sometimes you're a coach, and sometimes when you're on the ice, you're a teacher. There are great kids in the classroom, and there are even better students on the ice. I think that's the biggest thing, is to dream big, because you never know what's going to happen. And you come from a small town like Welland, and all of a sudden you end up on the national stage. You just got to believe in them, and you got to work for them.
Tara, as you know, when Danny Paille was captain of our World Junior men's hockey team, the under-20s, Amanda was with the national team training in Calgary as well. And Hockey Canada said we'd never had 2 members of our national team who grew up on the same street, and it happened for Welland, Ontario, as they channel one another, which is a thing to do along the Welland Canal.
There you go. And I'm not exactly an engineering geek, but this has me really interested. The Welland Canal it's really a feat, a man-made wonder. It connects Lake Erie to Lake Ontario. The first phase was constructed in 1829. Locks are filled and emptied. It enables ships to ascend and descend the Niagara Escarpment. So it's a safe detour around Niagara Falls. About 3,000 ships come every year. It's become a tourist attraction. You can check out the Salties or the Lakers going through the locks, and it's something to behold.
It's 11 hours, right, to get through, and it's amazing. That connects essentially Chicago to Toronto, our NHL matchup tonight. So we're talking about what Welland has done in terms of leadership. It's truly amazing to see those 5 boys born in 84 and 85. Here's 5 great examples again on the women's front with respect to leadership. And I knew that Stacey Allister was really a driving force, and one of those who in 2014 established a groundbreaking role as CEO of Women's Tennis Association. But there you see Michelle O'Keefe up on the top. Basketball, Kelly Muramitz is on the other side, Tennis Canada. Susan Kitchen was with the Coaching Association of Ontario, and Sandra Gage worked with FIFA. She was a driving force of the 2015 Women's World. So all from here.
And 3 men from the area from very different sports. We got to start with Paul Beeston, the former MLB president and president of the Toronto Blue Jays. Of course, won 2 championships with that team. A guy named Brian DeBull, an offensive coordinator with the Buffalo Bills, a 5-time Super Bowl champ as an assistant with the Patriots. And the late Jim Gregory, he was actually born in Port Colborne,
and raised in Dunnville and gave a lot back to that community.
Another leader is my wife, Carrie Tara. She was here with the Canada Games. So Barry Wright is the CEO of the Games, and Doug Hamilton, whose boy, Dougie Hamilton, was a star with Carolina last night in Ottawa. There's Carrie and the unveiling of the mascot for the 2021 Games. It's a turtle representing the 13 moons in a calendar year. It's an homage to the First Nations idea of the moons and their influence, and there happen to be 13 municipalities here in Niagara, so that was a neat experience today. Friday night was a beautiful commiseration as we all gathered together to remember Liam Boverhof. Liam's a 17-year-old midget hockey player who succumbed to mental illness that resulted in suicide, and we were with a number of teams Friday night at the amazing Welland Arena to talk about the power in each of us comes from all of us. The boys who played on his major rep team, of course, are honoring him, and we had a night. This is the team that actually played in the game that night and had a shutout victory, the minor midgets, and they had the number 12 for Liam there. And same thing, I got to meet the team. The coaches were so good on Monday when the news broke. They gathered all the kids from schools here in Welland, and they've been together and they've remained together. Don showed this beautiful shot on Hockey Night in Canada last night. So to the Boverhofs, we just wanted to express our sincere condolences. Jeff and Jody and Maya, we love you and we're with you.
Rogers Hometown Hockey is brought to you by Scotiabank, proud to support 1 million kids and counting, and Hyundai, made for those who drive hockey.
In each community we visit, Sobeys gives back to the local minor hockey associations, and this weekend, Welland Minor Hockey decided to pay it forward. They used their gift cards to buy $1,000 worth of non-perishable items for the local food bank.
Tara, Dan Girardi, if he were in this game, neither Matthews or Kane would score a goal. Everything would be blocked. But the last time they met last year, it was hat-tricks both ways and lots of sellies, as you call them. Anything you can do, I can do better. There's Austin Matthews getting ready for the Chicago Blackhawks and Patrick Kane. And let's get back down to the game now. Kyle Bukauskas is with number 88.
Patrick, when you addressed the crowd here Thursday night and said we're going to get this turned around and get on a run, how close do you believe this group is to doing just that?
Pretty close. I think probably deserved a little bit better than we got last night in Pittsburgh with just 1 point, but we got to find a way to get 2 points in those games. So I'm still building here.
Would you have asked for a better time to get on a hot streak here, considering the fireworks that went off between you and Austin Matthews the last time you guys met here in this building?
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, I think it's entertaining for everyone. I got a lot of respect for him and the way he plays and how good of a career he's had to date. So it'd be nice to get something going like that again tonight.
Appreciate the time. Thank you.
He put his body on the line for over 1,000 regular season and playoff games.
Harrison moves in and shoots, fearlessly blocked by Dan Girardi.
Over 13 NHL seasons.
Girardi, he scores!
Dan Girardi.
Well, he said it himself. He'll never be an ankle model at this point, but he did have one heck of an NHL career. Dan Girardi, it's been so nice being here this weekend with your mom, Mark, and your mom, Carol, and your dad, Mark. The amazing thing to me, watching your career is that it almost didn't happen because there came a time where you had to make a choice. You were going to take a two-way deal with an AHL team, or you were going to play with Brock, and you chose to take the deal.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough time for me. I got cut from the Rangers camp right away, and same with the Hartford Wolfpack camp. And I was sitting at the airport bar with Brian Rodney at the time, my teammate from the London Knights, and we're like, what's the plan now? But we kind of didn't know what was going on, and went home, talked to my parents a little bit, and Jim Schoenfeld from the Wolfpack called me and was like, hey, we can give you an AHL deal, and you'll have to start in Charlotte in the East Coast League. And I said, might as well just give it a try.
And then from there, how does it happen? How do you get through from Charlotte to the National League?
First thing I had to do was go get a car down the road at Davis Cheval's on Niagara Street. Me and my dad went and got a Ford Explorer 2-door. I think we drove over to my mom's work at the hospital, showed her the truck, packed it up, and drove to Charlotte. And from there, it was just a quick little stint in Charlotte, just a couple weeks, but got called up to Hartford, spent the year there, and had a pretty decent year. And then the Rangers signed me that summer, and then off to Hartford again for the next year, and then had a really good start and got named to the All-Star game. It was in Toronto, and I had like 50 people going to the game, and then I got called up to the Rangers, and my aunts and uncles and they were pretty mad that I had to pay for the tickets still. But it was obviously a big deal for me getting called up in January '07.
So almost 2,000 block shots in the NHL. This is under Tortorella's tutelage, right? This is what he kind of encouraged you all to do.
Yeah, it didn't matter if you were Marian Gaborik, Brad Richards, any of those guys. You're blocking shots, and that was really his philosophy, and I kind of thrived under it. And when he got there, that I was totally fine with that, and kind of figured out that I didn't mind doing it for a living. But do have a lot of bumps and bruises, and like you said, my ankles aren't. They're pretty gross.
What's the secret to it? So PK Subban just drills you here. I saw Chris Tanev get killed by Patrick Laine this week. You mentioned Calvin DeHaan's a guy you watch, and obviously Seabrook and Chris Russell. What's the secret to it?
The secret is just not to think about it. It sounds weird, but if you're thinking about where you're going to get hit, or if you're going to be in the right spot, you might get dinged over the shin pad or something like that. I just always just kind of read the play very quickly and just try to be the right place at the right time. And obviously playing against Ovi for a long time, I know that shot's coming from the right side. You just got to time the puck in there and go down, and hopefully you don't get hit in a bad spot. And I did have one bad one when I was with the Lightning in Detroit, got it right in the back of the neck, and that was very scary. And but luckily everything was cool. Make some jokes after the game about it, having a nice slice of pizza and a Pepsi after the game. So it was great.
You're living in Florida now, but you're coming back home. I know you guys are going to come back and live here in the spring, but while you're there, you and Vanilla Cavalier are coaching your son's team, and we're going to show Landon.
All right, here we go.
Okay, take us through this. We're going to watch him score. What kind of a player is he?
He's the opposite of myself. I usually went off the glass and out, and he's more of a take it down the wing, make a move, make a nice play. And I'm not really sure where he got his hands from. It's definitely not from me, but it was in a tournament in Palm Beach. It was in either the final game or the game right before that, and he breaks a couple guys' ankles here, and then throws a top corner, and couldn't be more proud of that guy. They had a couple games today over in Ellington and just down the road from Tampa, and this one they had all the Bulls players out there.
So great, Dan. Congratulations on a truly beautiful career. Dan Girardi here, and there's Landon, his boy, and the parents are here celebrating with us, which is what happens on Rogers Hometown Hockey. Truly great. Wendell Clark fan. So I don't know if your heart's with Toronto tonight, but that's who we've got again.
And my daughter Shay as well out there. I want to say hi to her as well, and my wife Pamela.